Good afternoon. I'm Sheriff Hobart-Lewis. I guess we'll begin with kind of how the day started on Saturday. Again, the 11 o'clock assembly was very peaceful. They stayed in one location. One thing we did do, and there's a lot of information to be passed out today, but me and the chief went and met with each group and the leader of those groups and tried to make sure they knew what the guidelines were, what their expectations were of us, what our expectations were of their assembly. And I think that certainly had a lot of, created a good foundation for us to create that dialogue going forward into the day. So as we moved away from the event and watched it unfold, again, most were very peaceful. I think we met with really each well-known activist that was downtown on Saturday. Several were mentioned, but as things unfolded and we would go find them and say, hey, listen, if you know these people, it's time to start leaving. So we could identify them. One of the biggest things I think we ran into was outside people coming into these protests and these groups that didn't begin with them. And those seemed to be kind of the agitators, if you will, as the night went on into Saturday. So we were able to talk to U.A. Thompson. We talked to Tracy Fant. We talked to Bruce Wilson. We were on the phone with Derek Quarles. We talked to Paul Guy on Sunday. All these folks that were really involved in or knew what we were dealing with, who was trying to offer some help in the dispersing this crowd. Again, we tried to be very patient because most did not follow the rules. At the end of the day, it was people, the original group would leave when their time was up, but we had 30 or 40 that would continue to stay. And then they moved out into the county. So we were very fortunate to be able to work with Chief Thompson and have a contingent ready from the county. I think we did a great job of working together. I know when that occurred, we had an event on Woodruff Road, which is the Etta Cole's parking lot. It's outside the city. But having those people down there and ready to deploy them, we got to Woodruff Road very quickly and was able to keep any damage, any injuries, or any of those things from happening. So Saturday went really well. Going into Sunday, we got a game plan together. We were trying to watch and look at the numbers and those things. Again, we met with those organizers who really had the best of intention. Their plan was to come up Main at a certain point, have a moment of silence, go back to Falls Park. And that's exactly what it looked like was going to happen. However, they continued to move around the city, and I think the mayor and the staff at the EEOC, as well as the police chief, were very patient. We began to move resources around the city to keep them safe because traffic, we had not blocked those streets off at that time. But from a mobile standpoint, we did a good job of putting those resources out and keeping those people very safe. And again, most were very compliant. As the night wore on, we asked them, look, you're several hours past your time that you're supposed to be here. We got Main Street shut down. Businesses are shut down. It's time to take it back toward Falls Park. And again, I think most were compliant at the original group. We seemed to somehow integrate a very young group that was probably from age 20 to early 30s that stayed around. Even the event organizers tried to talk to them. Other activists tried to talk to them and tell them it's time to go. So we were very thankful to have the resources we had and being there to watch it. Very proud of men and women at the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. But I cannot tell you how impressed I was to watch the Greenville City Police Department's bike patrol unit, their field force unit when they were deployed. We came in to back them up, and they did a wonderful job. And kudos to the chief for orchestrating that. As he put people into play, it really diffused a lot of situations until that final hour, to where they just sat down and said they weren't moving. And again, we had to get them back down to their vehicles and clear the roadway. So nobody was injured. I do think a very minimal amount of force was used. When you're present and you got a field force team there, that's obviously a first sign of force, very minimal sign, and I think it was advantageous to us to have a very large group ready to keep that area safe and keep the protesters that were there for the right reasons very safe. So, Chief, congratulations. You really performed well, sir, and it was a pleasure to serve beside you this weekend, and it was truly an honor to walk with the members who were participating in this protest. It is a terrible time in our country, and I think it's up to us to start in this corner of our world to move forward and generate some dialogue, and we can do that together. We just have to get everybody to the table. So I'm very fortunate to get to work across the hall from Chief Thompson, and I hope that lasts for a very long time for me and you both, sir. And he won't be an acting chief. I hope he gets that full-time job because he certainly deserves it, and he represents you very well. But we do want to sit down and move forward and create those opportunities so that we can talk to our young people, have an open line of communication. Whatever your issue is, let's at least talk about it and keep these protests, if we're going to do them, keep them peaceful. Again, a lot of these outside influences are really what agitated this crowd and tried to stir it up. And I think our men and women in law enforcement did a great job of diffusing that situation and being very patient and again, just kind of waiting it out. And we were able to disperse the crowd. Downtown still looks as great as it did before it started. Very beautiful place down there and well preserved, and we're very proud to take a small part in keeping that safe and keeping those businesses safe. But let's not stop here. Let's move forward again and start creating some language to talk to each other on a very simple basis, and I think we can go a long way. So me and the chief have talked about that, and we'll certainly work with the community to begin that right away. And thank you to the media. Everything we asked y'all to do last night and Saturday night to help keep you safe, you did without hesitation. You were never part of the problem, and we appreciate that as much as we do appreciate you getting information out to the public. So